Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in this episode, we are gonna explore LGBTQ in the Indigenous communities and how accepting it is. Quanah also talks to us about Two-Spirit and her identifying as a two-spirited individual and what that means to her. And some of the major lessons that Quanah has learned throughout her life and the wisdom she's willing to share. So you don't wanna miss it. This is jam-packed. Again, buckle up. We're diving right in. Everybody's recording?
Everybody's on. Is this thing still on?
Are we back? You moved to Vancouver. Is this when you got into performance?
So I kind of grew up around music. So my dad is a musician and he has a production company, TV shows, books, stuff, albums. Art Napoleon.
Shameless plug.
So we have a family album called the Napoleon Collective. So it was my dad, my sister, my cousins, and then all studio musicians. Before that, I had done some features with electronic artists. And then when I came here, I actually I was doing events mainly. And then I would get drunk and I would want to freestyle with the DJ.
Climbing onto the stage.
Yes,
Hello, my God.
Yes. And then somehow that turned into bookings. I remember I didn't take it seriously. Like I would like get drunk and forget my words and then like just like, you know, like pour like a pitcher of beer on myself and roll around and be like, that was fun. Well, that wasn't cute anymore. And when I realized that I wanted to take it more seriously, started working with dancers from the House of the Douche and putting together a stronger stage show that I feel like is more entertaining and put together, and you know, it's a show. And then I signed to a label called Wet Tracks that at that point was based out of Berlin and Toronto. So I did my first full-length album with them. Yeah, now I have like over
all
60.
The links will be below.
Yeah, and I have like, I think over 60 songs on Spotify now.
Wow, so, Mommy is busy.
We did a track about choking on a dick until your eyes water.
Been there, done that.
Relatable.
Did you start performing with drag? Was that the way you started performing?
I started actually singing before I would consider what I do drag. Drag has always been an element or component to what I do. But back in the day, like I would be offended sometimes, like being a trans woman and being associated with drag. But now I like know who the fuck I am. I'm like, whatever, like if you can't figure it out, that's too bad for you. I definitely use elements of drag in what I do as an entertainer.
Mm-hmm. There's a big debate on trans women performing drag. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that trans women have always been an integral part of the drag community and deserve a rightful place, center stage, like any other queen, because let's not forget who was there at Stonewall and shit, bitch.
Did you hear that? I love that. You're absolutely right. I think freedom of expression, freedom of art, freedom of everything when it comes to creativity and it's self-expression. Why not?
And that's what's so great about drag. What's so cool about drag is that there is not just one way to do things. There's not one look, you know, there's pageant girls, there's bio queens. I'm seeing kids doing drag now. Like, it's become so much more mainstream. Before, when I was a kid, I remember people being like, you want to be like RuPaul, girl? And like making fun of me. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, she's successful.
Yeah. Look at her now.
Yeah. Check that resume, okay? Yeah, I want a resume like that too, bitch.
Your wife, your kids, everybody's watching it.
Really?
Come back at me again.
Honey. I'm lucky to have drag sisters too around me, like Scarlett, and I have my daughter Ilona now. We have a very interesting family dynamic, and we're all very close, and we're all each other's chosen family. Yeah. So we fight like real sisters, though, honey.
And have you ever faced any adversity in Vancouver, being a trans woman?
Yeah, I think that those other bitches were just so jealous that I was prettier than them, and that was really hard on me.
Love that. If you're out there and watching, ciao. Let's talk about LGBTQ in the Indigenous community. Is it widely spoken about?
I think prior to colonization, Two-Spirit people were always held in higher regard and had very dignified roles as members of the community and could go, like I said, like at Powwows, sometimes the gender roles were this or that, and the Two-Spirit people were able to go back and forth between both worlds and navigate different aspects of the community and of their lifestyles. At that point, I think colonization, we lost our culture, our beliefs, and it turned into Christian values. Like I heard about this Two-Spirit woman dancing at the Powwow, and all of these elders like went on the mic and told her she should leave and stuff. You know, these were not cultural values or beliefs. They clearly had an upbringing of them being stripped of their culture, and that's what they we're led to believe. I've seen this resurgence of Indigenous talent and Two-Spirit people who are reclaiming that term and holding it with a sense of pride and carrying it forth so that our other generations of Two-Spirit people can feel a sense of pride and ownership of the term being Two-Spirit.
Yeah. Do you identify with Two-Spirit?
I do. Some people get confused because they're like, well, you're just a woman. And I'm like, but, you know, no matter what, I will always see myself and relate to who I was and where I've been, where I'm at now. And I still feel like I do have a masculine and feminine energy in me.
Now, you spoke about reclaiming the terms Two-Spirit within the community. Do you think that it's progressing now?
It's a very small community of people that are in this industry with me that are living this lifestyle and, you know, claiming the word and stuff. So I feel like it is cool to see this uprising and this strength that people are finding. And, you know, being at the powwows, I just, you know, there was I could see a whole bunch of us that could see each other. You know what I mean? Like, I see you, girl.
Yeah.
So that's cool to see and be part of.
Yeah, and there's more acceptance now when you go to powwows and things.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, you didn't go back to a powwow for a while after you transitioned.
I still went to powwows, but I, you know, from dancing grass, that was in between years. I do remember going to powwows, but it was more as a spectator.
Yeah.
And to go eat Indian tacos and panicani. But I wasn't partaking in the dancing. So that was something that was one of my dreams. So, you know, I told you when I was a kid how I wanted to dance jingle. So in my adult life, I was lucky enough to work on a documentary, Dance With Me. I got to explore my culture and I did everything, you know, the best way I could. One of the most interesting experiences from that experience was actually designing my dress, and every little thing had importance to me. And like, while we're making the cones, it's a healing dress, it's a healing dance. So we're smudging, we're praying and putting our good intentions as to what we want for our prayers and stuff in the dress itself. And I had like my family crest in it. There was, you know, every little thing meant so much. Like the eagle wings were for my uncle who passed. So it was like he was with me, and like just every little thing meant so much to me in the garment, in my regalia. And, you know, I tried to do everything the best way I knew how. So we went into ceremony. We had a sweat lodge ceremony, and I offered, you know, you offer tobacco, your hair ties traditionally, and then you give forth, you know, what you really want for your intentions and stuff. So that was a really full circle moment for me. Not only getting to create my regalia and put so much of my heart and my soul into it, get to capture it, to share with people, and then to reconnect with my culture, because in between, when I was a teenager, I didn't go to a sweat lodge. Yeah. So I had been to powwows, but I hadn't been to a sweat lodge ceremony. And I had no idea how. So it would be like if you grew up going to church and you didn't go to church for a long time, then you walked in that church. But probably a little better because I was more connected to, you know, my beliefs.
Yeah. No.
So I just honestly, like the first 2 rounds, I just cried. And I didn't realize how much I was carrying around with me and how much I needed that release and how much being connected to my culture actually meant to me, because being disassociated from it for a while and then reconnecting really gave me a sense of, like, I felt like I got to let a lot of stuff go and then move forward and use that healing and that dance as an opportunity to really spread my wings and let go anything that was holding me back in the future and just try to do things the best way that I knew how and move forward. And get to share that moment and with showing pride in my culture and my heritage and my people. Like, we have a rich and beautiful culture
100%.
that is so evident. You got to get yourselves to a powwow. Look shit up on YouTube. Like, it's such, you know, our regalia, everything is just so beautiful to me, and it really warms my heart and like grounds me. You know, going to a powwow, I'm like, honey, this is who we are, and I love it.
Love that. I think that's so enriching, and I think that you going there and dancing jingle has probably inspired so many other young LGBTQ youth out there to live their authentic truth. How is your relationship with your mom and dad now?
My relationship with my mom and my dad now is actually really good. I was just in Edmonton for work. She's very traditional. So I go to visit her whole house, she's harvesting medicines all over her house. And she always hooks me up with like our traditional medicines and teas. She literally is in ceremonies and stuff like that all the time. She went to a sweat lodge actually, and then she came straight to my show. Like, if anyone knows my music, like I close with the raunchy number and my mom's there in like her traditional head wrap, looking like a little cookum grandma. Like, I love that. You know, she's so supportive of me now, and I can tell that she's really proud of me now, and she speaks highly of me. She does like a lot of public speaking and engagements and talking with people, parents of trans people, to try to relate with them and support them. So that's cool to see. My dad too is also really being a huge support in my life now. And like I said, like we talk regularly, we check in on each other, and he's a big support system for me. You know, it wasn't always like that. So to go through things over the years and to get to a place where we have this mutual respect and love and admiration for each other is just a good place to be in.
It's so great that you guys have been brought back together closer than ever, and then they support you so much, and they're probably your biggest advocates too within the community, and just so proud of everything that you've done, because she's working all the time. It was really hard to book her for this, you know?
It's an interesting dynamic with COVID and everything, like figuring out this new path of how we entertain and how it's done. I was very resistant at first to the changes. I didn't want to perform from my phone, but now realizing that there are new creative ways that we can develop and even elevate what we were doing before.
Yeah, 100%. Makes you on your toes and really try and push yourself creatively. Think outside the box and just come up with these great new ways of entertaining people.
And it opens the audiences, which is cool, because if people were just coming to Transform Fest and it was a one-night show that we worked so long on, then it's just the people in the audience. But now people from out of town can see it and get tickets online and stuff, and you can watch these shows from the comfort of your own home, honey.
Amen. From your couch.
Yeah, you don't even have to change and shit. You don't have to put on your makeup, girl.
You can lay naked if you want.
If you want, you just do what you want.
From your past, reflecting on everything you've been through, what is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned? Yeah.
One of the biggest lessons I learned, honestly, like it sounds cliche, but honestly, to believe in yourself. Because it's something that's so simple. Like you're feeling low or down about yourself, just remember that if you crinkle up $100 bill, it's still worth the same. Honey, we all have an inherent value as human beings. We are all worth the same. And it's just about acknowledging our own light and letting that light shine on us and shine on those around us.
100%. I think that, yes, it is very simple, but we don't hear it enough. We don't even believe in ourselves enough. So it's important for us to hear it again.
Yeah, and sometimes if you don't feel beautiful, if you're not liking something about your body, sometimes you just have to look in the mirror and be conscious of the things that you're telling yourself, so you can be more conscious of changing the way we feel about ourselves by being conscious of how we talk to ourselves and treat ourselves, and to just treat yourself nicer. And if you're not feeling good or you don't like something about yourself, sometimes it's good to just look at it and own it. Like while I was transitioning, sometimes I had to do that. Just look at myself and accept where I was and be like, this is you and you're okay and you're beautiful.
Love that. Yeah, it's nurture yourself. That's all.
Love yourself, bitch. Love yourself more, god damn it. Damn it. Damn it.
When you're facing adversity or hardship, how do you take care of your mental health?
I smoke a lot of weed.
There you have it.
No. Good night, folks. I like to think that I'm conscious of the things I'm telling myself so I can help control the narrative better.
100%.
Because we're talking to ourselves all the time. Yeah. Throughout the day, we're talking to ourselves. But we don't always think about the things that we're saying to ourselves. So I try to be aware of the things I'm telling myself. And especially like sometimes I can get in a mood. You don't want to get in my way when I'm in a mood. So
I think that's so important. I think we talk to everybody in the most kindest way possible, but when it comes to ourselves, we have so much negative thoughts.
Yeah, like it's so easy sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like, why not talk to ourselves like that, you know?
Or to like give other people advice. Sometimes it's so easy to give advice and so much harder to take your own damn advice. Like, especially when it comes to relationships and shit. I'm like, bitch, let me tell you, he ain't no good for you, girl. And then I'm like, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, whatever you want. No, but you know, we all have our things and we're all figuring it out. So just doing the best we can. It's really the best we can do.
100%. 100%. What do you think are the next steps for inclusion in the LGBTQ plus community?
I think it, has been really cool, especially as a trans woman, to see shows like Powwows, to have characters on Netflix that are, I watched the show the other day, Warrior Nun, and there was a character in it who was trans, and I was like so curious how they were going to address her storyline.
Yeah.
But what I loved about it was the narrative is just her being like any other character, not the narrative being her whole trans storyline, just having regular characters in any other show who just happen to be trans, like somebody might happen to be a redhead, So it's cool to see that shift in media, to see new roles coming up for people like me is really exciting.
Yeah, and the fact that you are so big in media too is definitely progressing that.
Yeah.
That is a light in a lot of
I'm actually going to be doing a movie. And
Aren't
I
we
was
lucky?
supposed to be, it's my first big starring role. I get to sing and dance and everything, and it's a take on A Star Is Born with a trans narrative.
First movie.
That's like
She's a star. Being a trans woman, what are some things that people should stay away from saying, stay away from doing?
Don't ask a girl if she's trans, first of all. Don't disclose their identity for somebody else. Like, that's happened to me before. This is Quanah, she's trans. And I'm like, girl, that's not how I introduce myself to people, so you shouldn't be introducing me like that either, bitch.
100%. Any words that we should stay away from?
Well, you can't say tranny, bitch. So there's a word to stay away from.
Great. There you have it. You're a lot. So. Is there one last message you want to say to anybody who's watching?
Believe in yourself and chase your dreams, and crazier things have happened. I never in a million years would have guessed that I would be able to be having a career of doing what I love, getting to work with amazing people, getting to have amazing opportunities. And it was just something that I feel like I never dreamed of doing this for myself. I dreamt of phases, or I dreamt of little things that I wanted. My first big thing was transitioning and being who I am. And then after that, I kind of had to figure out, what do I want when when I was so consumed, that took so much of my energy and my life focus to do that. So I think then the end note of that would be to just never stop dreaming as big as you can, because when you hit one dream, what do you want to do next? Just think big and believe in yourself.
I love that. Okay, I have 2 more questions. I thought I was done.
Hit me, Sarge.
Hit me more. What would you say to your younger self?
Don't be such a slut.
There you have it. We're done.
I would tell my younger self to not care what anybody else is thinking, not care what anybody else is perceiving. The only thing that really matters is how you feel about yourself, what you think about yourself. And all those people, like, that was just, when I look back now, it was such a waste of time and energy, caring too much about what these strangers might have thought about me. At the end of the day, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. And you realize the older we get, it's just like, that was just a moment in my life.
Yeah, luckily.
Not there anymore. Yeah, it built a lot of character with me, but at the same time, do I think about that ever now?
No. It's a blimp and a blimp and a blimp and a blimp.
What would you say to a young Indigenous kid that is struggling with their identity or sexuality?
I would say to find and surround yourself with people who you feel comfortable with, who love you, who accept you, how you are, who you are. And if there's anybody you relate to that is older than you, to reach out to them, or to just find your people. Know that the journey of self-discovery is actually really beautiful if you just embrace it. Believe in yourself.
I love that. Life's too short.
so short, really. Talk, I'm 72.
Yeah!
Drinking the potion.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here.
Oh my God,
I love you. I love
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And
Bye, guys.
Bye. Ciao for now. Oh my gosh. If that energy is not contagious, I don't know what is. Thank you, Quanah, for coming on here. I really appreciate you. You can check out all her music and other documentaries that she has already been on. All the links will be below. Thank you guys for joining us on this journey. I really appreciate you guys. Remember to leave comments, be nice, be kind, be empathetic. This is Quanah Stories. So join us next week for a brand new interview, and ciao for now.